Hello, future champions. JJ back with you. Appreciate you being back with me today. In the context of what we determine here at Champion Movement to be a difference maker kind of champion in this world, I want to share with you a story. Now, I'm going to change some names, not to protect the innocent, but you'll understand the reasoning here in just a little bit. But I believe personally, a real champion makes an incredible impact on others. And again, as I've shared before, understanding that gift and understanding the impact of that gift. Sometimes we're aware of it, and sometimes we're not. As you begin to hear me, definitely on conference calls that I do and meetings I end every call the same way. And from this point forward, every time you hear from me, I'll end it the exact same way. And you'll understand why after I share this story with you. And the story goes like this. One day when I was a freshman in high school, I saw a kid from my class was walking home from school. His name was Kyle. It looked like he was carrying all of his books. I thought to myself, why would anyone bring home all of his books on a Friday? You know, the guy must really be a nerd. I had quite a few weekend planned parties, if you will, a football game with my friend tomorrow afternoon. So I just shrugged my shoulders and went on. As I was walking, I saw a bunch of kids running towards him. They ran at him, knocking all of his books out of his arms, tripping him, and he landed in the dirt. His glasses went flying. As a fellow glasses owner, I can understand that. And I saw him land in the grass about 10 feet from him. He looked up. I saw this terrible sadness in his eyes. My heart went out to him. So I jogged over to him, and as he crawled around looking for his glasses, in a brief moment I saw a tear in his eye. Now as I handed him his glasses, I said, you know what, those guys are jerks. They really just should get a life. And he looked at me and he said, hey, thanks. Just a big smile on his face. One of those smiles that showed just, real heartfelt gratitude. I helped him pack up his books, asked him where he lived. As it turns out, he lived near me. So I asked him why he'd never seen him before, and he said he'd gone to private school before now. I'd have never hung out with a private school kid before. We walked all the way home together, and I carried his books. I helped him carry his books, and it turned out to be a pretty cool kid. I asked him if he wanted to play football with me that following Saturday, with me and my friends. He said, sure. We hung out all weekend. And the more I got to know Kyle, the more I liked him. My friends thought the same. Monday morning came. And there was Kyle with this huge stack of books again. I stopped him and I says, doggone it, guy, you're going to really build up some serious muscles with that pile of books every day. And he, in that moment, he just laughed, handed me half the books. And, over the next 4 years, Kyle and I became friends. When we were seniors, we began to think about college. Kyle decided on Georgetown. I was going to go to a different school. I was considering Duke at the time. I knew that we'd always be friends. And that the smiles between us would never be a problem. He wanted to be a physician. I was going to go to Duke on a football scholarship. But Kyle was the valedictorian of our class. I teased him all the time about being a nerd. He had to prepare a speech for our graduation ceremony. So I was just glad I wasn't having to get up there and speak on graduation day. But I saw Kyle getting prepared for it. And in that moment, he looked great. He was one of those guys that really found himself during high school. He filled out and actually looked pretty good in glasses that time. He had more dates than me, and all the girls loved him. That, I'd admit, sometimes I was jealous. Now, today was just one of those days. I could see that he was nervous about his speech. So I smacked him on the back, and I said, hey, big guy, you're going to be great. He looked at me with one of those looks, those really grateful ones. And he smiled, and he said, thanks. As he started his speech, he cleared his throat, and he began. You know, he said graduation is a time to thank everyone who helped you make it through those tough years. Your parents, your teachers, your siblings, maybe a coach, but mostly your friends. I'm here to tell you, all of you, that being a friend to someone is the best gift that you can give them. I'm going to tell you a story. I just looked around at my friend with disbelief as he told the story of the first day that we met. He planned to kill himself over the weekend. He talked of how he had cleaned out his locker so his mom wouldn't have to go do it later on. So he was carrying all of his stuff home. He looked hard at me. He gave me a little smile and he said, "Thankfully I was saved. My friend saved me from doing the unspeakable." And I heard this gasp go through the crowd as this handsome, popular boy told us about his weakest moment. I saw his mom and dad looking at me and smiling with that same grateful smile. Not until that moment did I realize its depth. Never underestimate the power of your actions. With one small gesture, you can change a person's life. You can change it for better, you can change it for worse. God puts us all in each other's lives to impact one another in some way. Look for God in others. I share that story with you to remind us that we have impact on other people. As you continue to go through the champion movement experience, you're going to come to understand this on a whole nother level. But my challenge for you today is very simple. Remember the impact that you have on others and look for an opportunity to do something good, something positive for someone today. But do it in the knowing that there's no way that they could ever repay you.